Today I'm going to show you how to create stunning black and white photos. Hello my friends, and let's get started. So I'm going to use Affinity Photo, but we are also going to use a free plugin collection called Nik Collection by DxO. This was originally developed by Nikon, so it's very, very professional. One of the best collections for photo editing that you can have. And it's free to download. I will link a video of another YouTuber that explains how to install that. But when you do, please click here on Edit and Preferences. Then click on Photoshop Plugins. And when you have this list here, make sure that you tick this box down here that says Allow unknown plugins to be used. Otherwise, most of those are not going to show up. I created a lot of macro photos today. So we have this one, we have this one, and we have this one, and we will edit this a little bit. This is of course inspired by the last episode where we talked about Edward Weston and other amazing historic black and white photographers. This is a vegetable here, really, really cool stuff. Today we're going to do the same thing. As you can see, it's not really good photo that I took with my camera today, but we will turn this into magic, into art. So let's get started. Here we click on Filters, Nikon Color Collection, and we will in this episode just focus on Analog Efex Pro 2 because there is so much to do. I can't even explain the other parts because there's another one for black and white in here. The amazing thing about this one is it's not just for black and white, it also has a lot of different, you see, color effects on this. So this is mind-blowing, the stuff that you can do with this. And the cool thing is you click up here on classic cameras and you have a selection of classic cameras. How cool is that? You have classic cameras, black and white, color cast, wet plate, motion, double exposure, multi-lens, toy camera. So much to choose from. We are going to choose black and white today because this is the topic of the episode. And on the left side, you can see there's a lot of presets here and they are already pretty cool. This is the one I started with. Let me make the window a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm doing. And already this looks amazing. It's like when you take the color out of the photograph, this macro turns into a sci-fi imaginary architecture. It's really, really cool, and you can do so much with that. This is another one I really love. Look at this kind of life and contrast and kind of different imaginary world that's going on. This, of course, is adjusted by all these settings on the right, and we will go through them today. So let me turn off the frames so we see a little bit clearer what we're going to do. Up here, of course, are the basic adjustments. So this is the basic thing. Let me turn off everything. Maybe not everything. Let's turn it on again. So it's still black and white, of course. Up here, you have detail extraction. So it tells you this is a lot of detail and not very much detail. So you can get softer or harder. You see, the more detail extraction I do, the harder the picture gets. So let's set it to a softer value like this. Then of course you have the brightness of the picture. That can be very, very useful for adjusting. Then of course we have the contrasts. There's a very low contrast, very high contrast, so you can play around with that. And we have the saturation, which is the saturation mostly of the original picture, which also influences how the black and white picture looks. The next one and all the other ones from now on are artistic choices, basically. So the cool thing here is you have dirt and scratches. So you have a selection of dust and lint, scratches, organic, and eroded. So you can put different kind of grunge textures onto your picture. I will show you one that is very visual so you know what I'm talking about. You see here all this kind of destruction. With the blue point, you can move the grunge map around. So it is where you want to have it. It is in the kind of way that you want it to be influencing your picture. And you can set it to a negative value. So these will be white, or you can set it to a positive value. Then these will be black or anywhere in the middle. So they're very subtle in your picture. That's a very cool kind of thing. And of course, you can choose from all these kind of different textures depending on what kind of influence. And some are really very subtle on your picture, you know. Of course, then we not only have dust and lint, we also have scratches like this one. There we go. You can see you have very fine and nice scratches in your picture. Another selection of textures to choose from. Then we have organic ones, which is an organic material erosion of the paper. Let's set this a little bit stronger. You can see here, it's erosion of the material mostly, or of the silver blade, depending on what kind of, how can I say, historic analog kind of medium you want to base your picture on. And of course, then we have eroded, which is just the erosion. There we go. You see here, film erosion. This is more like a negative film erosion, I would say. I don't know if you can hear this kind of ambulance driving around out there. You can see really, really cool things. You can create so amazing black and white pictures with this. So this is the dirt scratches. And by the way, down here you have control points. And these are really important because these give you more ability for adjustment. So if you click on this one, and then you click here, you can create an adjustment point and create set the size. And down here you can set the texture strength. So you can say that you want to have more or less texture in a certain area of the picture. Let's see here, for example, you can see that when we set it to 0, there is no texture influence left. So you can very precisely tell where you want to have your texture. So here you can see there's still erosion going on, but here we have removed the erosion, which is mostly important if there's maybe a face of a person in here, or it's kind of interfering with the picture that you're creating. So let's get to the next one, which is lens vignette. And this is one I really love. I'm a huge fan of vignette. And here, the cool thing is you have two settings. You can set it to dark, but you can also set it to light, a positive one. And this gives you a really, really nice effect that I really enjoy a lot in this kind of black and white setting, because it makes it more abstract. You even know less what the black and white picture was, in this case from the macro. So it really inspires your inspiration. And the cool thing also is, let's set it to black again so we see it better. You can make it rectangle, but you can make it also circular. As you can see, you have a circle and you can adjust the size, very big, very small. You cannot go super small because it's a vignette. It's not kind of just a light point, so it has to be rather big in the picture, but you can set it to a rather good setting for you. So I really like this one where it's blown out and it's getting more abstract. It's so cool to work with black and white photography. Let's go to the next one, which is film type. And here you have different tones. We are just concerned today with the black and white tones. So you have neutral and you have toned. Toned means you have different kind of color hues in the picture. And you can see here we have a little bit of a earthy, violet, reddish tone. But you can also set it to blue tones, and you can also set it to sepia tones or brownish coffee tones. And up here is more of the classic sepia. Like this is a very classic sepia look, 1800, 1850, something like this. Early photography, really kind of stuff. And this is a bluish one, much more modern, but also very, very nice. So you can see you can create a lot of very artistic styles and copy and emulate and simulate different time periods, but also your favorite kind of artists. So really get inspired by those. I will link again the post about the 10 different historic photographers to take inspiration from. It's really cool. Then, of course, we have black and white neutral. And neutral is just different kind of gray gradients. So you can see this is a very soft one, but we also have harder ones that go more in the white or more into the black area. So click around here and see what fits your interest, what catches your eye, what is the effect that you want to have. And again, of course, we down here have a lot of settings to adjust that. So we can fade it from neutral to faded, and we can set the strength of the effect, and we can set the grain per pixel, and this is a really important, grain per pixel. That makes this a little bit stronger. So let's make it very grainy. You see, like this is really old, like the first kind of photographies that you had really bad quality or very high grain negative film, but you can also set it to a very high grain. Maximum here is 500, but this is basically, there's no grain left to be seen by the eye. So you can set it somewhere in the middle like this. It's a little bit grainy. It's kind of an old school effect. And of course, the cool thing, let's set the grain very high again. You can set it to soft and you can set it to hard. So this is a soft grain. And you move this over, you're getting a very hard grain. So also this is very important to what you want to achieve. And maybe you shouldn't go to this one. It's a bit too extreme, but if you're somewhere here, it's still important to see if it's a softer or a harder grain, because this, of course, also influences the details you're going to see and the soft or hard feeling of the picture in the end result. Okay, so this was the film type. And the next one is a bit of, I'm not a huge fan of that, but you can use it if you're a fan of that. Do it for your heart's content. It can be a lot of fun to use it. And this is different kind of frames. And we have a selection here to choose from. We have film stripes, we have white, and we have light box. Film stripes, of course, is simulating classic negative film stripes. You can see here. So you can use this in your picture. And of course, this one is a glass plate, very classic kind of development in photography. And you can even scale this up here, which zooms it in and out. So you can make it like this. And I think when you do it like this, it looks pretty modern. And here you can see it should be a classic glass plate. So it would be a really old picture if it's developed on glass. So you can use this to make really cool different effects. Then we have white, which just gives a white border, basically. And you can see here, for example, this is more of the classic white edge of a Polaroid picture. But of course, we can also have something that looks like an old paper developed picture from a negative film or from a glass plate. And you, of course, also can have some round corners with that. So you can do and simulate all the different kind of epochs, time periods of black and white photography. And down here, of course, then we have the light boxes. Looks like this. Also very cool. It's also very stylish what you can do with that. And again, you can scale all of this in and out. So like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of this kind of thing, but it's there and you can use it and it can look really, really cool. The last one is very classic. It's levels and curves. So a very classic kind of thing. Make it brighter, make it darker with, and of course you can adjust here kind of the contrast. So where is the darkest value ending and where is the brightest value ending? So this is very classic curves. Of course, up here where it says RGB, you have the different channels, the red channel, the green channel, the blue channel, because it's a light photography. So we have red, green, and blue. And then we have the luminosity as an extra channel. Luminosity is basically the brightness of the picture. Okay, so these are the different settings. Install the free plugin set. I really invite you to do that and click on these different presets over here and work from them inwards, because they simulate every one of these presets is based on a classic famous photographer. So this gives you a really, really good starting point, and you can work inwards with all of these settings that I showed you just now. And I use this one. Let's look at another picture. Maybe this one with the flower. You can see it's not even a great picture, but with black and white, you can do so much stuff with it. Let's open this real quick and have a look. And yeah, the next time I want to show you the Silver Efex Pro, which is just focused on black and white photography, but it has a lot more settings. So I didn't want to do this in the same video. Oh, it's the wrong layer. Never mind. Okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. If you like my videos, please click on the subscribe button. And if you want to support me even more, head over to Patreon, where you get my original files. You can chat with me and I will give you feedback on your pictures, your creations. Thank you and see you next time. Bye.